The massive alien ship appeared on a quiet Tuesday morning, materializing just beyond Earth's moon. Its sudden appearance sent the world's military forces into high alert, but before any nation could react, the ship broadcast a message to every electronic device on Earth. The message was simple: "We come in peace. We are the Stellar Council." Tom Walker was grading physics papers in his university office when the message appeared on his computer screen. At first, he thought it was a clever prank by one of his students, but then he heard screams from the hallway. Looking out his window, he saw students pointing at the sky. There, visible even in broad daylight, was an enormous vessel that seemed to shimmer like a mirage. Within hours, the world's governments had assembled an emergency meeting at the United Nations. Videos showed the alien ship deploying 12 smaller vessels, each one distinct in design and appearance. News reporters speculated that these represented different alien species, but no one could be certain. "Professor Walker," a voice called from his doorway. Tom looked up to find two men in black suits standing there. "We need you to come with us immediately." Before he could protest, they explained that the aliens had requested a meeting with Earth's leading experts in quantum physics. His name had appeared on their list, though no one knew how they had obtained it. The drive to the hastily prepared landing site was tense. Military vehicles lined the roads, and crowds of people gathered at every intersection, their faces a mix of fear and wonder. Tom's mind raced with questions. Why him? Why quantum physics? The landing site was a cleared field outside the city. The alien vessels hovered silently above, their surfaces reflecting the sunlight in ways that seemed to defy physics. As Tom waited with other selected scientists and world leaders, the air suddenly felt electric. A beam of light touched the ground, and figures began to materialize. Tom's jaw dropped as he saw 12 distinctly different alien species. Some were tall and slender, others short and robust. One appeared to be made entirely of crystalline structures, while another seemed to shift and flow like liquid mercury. The leader of the group, a being with iridescent skin and 4 arms, stepped forward. "We are the Stellar Council." It spoke in perfect English, though its mouth didn't move. "We represent the united species of this galaxy sector." Tom noticed something odd about the aliens' behavior. They kept looking at the humans with what seemed like confusion, their instruments constantly scanning. The crystalline being approached Tom directly, its surface flickering with internal lights. "Your species," it said, its voice resonating like wind chimes, "produces energy patterns we cannot explain. Our instruments detect quantum fluctuations around your populations that defy our understanding of physics." The world leaders present exchanged, confused looks. Tom felt a strange excitement building in his chest. As a quantum physicist, he knew that the quantum realm often behaved in ways that seemed impossible, but he had never considered that humans might have some unique relationship with it. "We have visited many worlds," the 4-armed leader continued. "But Earth is different. Your technology is primitive compared to ours. Yet you achieve things that should be impossible. You make scientific leaps that bypass dozens of logical steps. You solve problems through what you call intuition, in ways our most advanced computers cannot match." Tom found himself stepping forward, drawn by scientific curiosity. "Are you saying humans have some kind of quantum ability?" The alien's instruments suddenly buzzed and whirred. "Even now," the crystalline being said, "you demonstrate it. Your question shows a leap of understanding that our species would need years of study to achieve." The gathered humans murmured among themselves. Tom felt a mix of pride and fear. If humans had some power that even advanced aliens didn't understand, what did that mean for Earth's future? The 4-armed leader raised its hands for silence. "We have come to study this phenomenon. With your permission, we wish to establish a research base on Earth. In exchange, we offer knowledge and technology. But we must warn you, we are not the only ones who have noticed Earth's unique signature. There are others in the galaxy who may not be as peaceful in their interest." As Tom looked around at the faces of his fellow humans, he knew their world had changed forever. Whatever this hidden power was that humans possessed, It had caught the attention of beings far more advanced than themselves. The question was, would this power prove to be humanity's greatest gift or its greatest danger? 3 weeks after first contact, Tom sat in a newly constructed alien research facility, watching as monitors displayed strange readings from major cities around the world. The Stellar Council had been busy, setting up observation posts in every major population center. What they found both excited and confused them. "Look at this pattern," the liquid mercury alien, who Tom had come to know as Blue, said while pointing at a screen. "Every human gathering creates these energy ripples, but they grow stronger when humans work together to solve problems." Tom studied the display, trying to make sense of the swirling patterns. The aliens had explained that these were quantum energy readings, but they didn't match any known form of energy in their vast database. Even more interesting, the patterns seemed to grow stronger whenever humans were being creative or working under pressure. "We've been watching Earth for 50 of your years," Blue continued, its surface rippling with what Tom had learned was excitement. "At first, we thought your species was simply lucky. You survived disasters that should have wiped you out. You made technological leaps that skipped dozens of logical steps. But now we know it's more than luck." The main door slid open, and Dr. Miller walked in, carrying a stack of papers. She had been running tests on volunteer human subjects, trying to understand why they could sometimes solve complex problems without understanding the underlying principles. "You won't believe what we found," she said, spreading the papers across the desk. "Remember that impossible puzzle the Council gave us last week? The one their computers couldn't solve. We gave it to a group of kindergarten children." Tom raised his eyebrows. "And 3 of them solved it in under an hour. They said they just saw how it should go together." She shook her head in amazement. "When we asked them to explain their reasoning, they couldn't. They just knew." Blue's surface swirled faster. "This matches our historical observations. Humans often make discoveries through what you call hunches or gut feelings. Our species require careful, logical progression through each step of a problem. But humans somehow sense the answer without understanding the path to it." Tom remembered something from his own research. "Like when we discovered fire. According to your records, most species spend thousands of years observing natural fire before learning to create it. But humans just figured it out." "Exactly," Blue rippled. "Your species seems to have an intuitive connection to the quantum field that surrounds all matter. You don't just observe reality. You interact with it in ways we cannot understand." A loud alarm suddenly blared through the facility. The main screen lit up with new data, showing massive energy spikes from a nearby city. Blue moved quickly to the console, its mercury-like form flowing with purpose. "This is incredible," it said. "A group of humans just solved a mathematical problem that has puzzled our best minds for centuries. They were just college students working on a theoretical physics project. They thought they were proposing a wild theory, but they accidentally proved it correct." Tom walked to the window, looking out at the city in the distance. He thought about all the times in human history when someone had a crazy idea that turned out to be right. All the inventors and scientists who made impossible leaps of logic that somehow worked. "We're starting to understand why your species troubles certain members of the galactic community," Blue said quietly. "Your power is unpredictable. It cannot be measured or controlled. Some species find that frightening." Dr. Miller joined them at the window. "Are we in danger?" Blue's surface darkened slightly. "There are those who believe humanity should be contained. They fear what might happen as your species continues to develop this ability. Already, your quantum interactions are growing stronger. The energy readings we detect today are twice what they were 50 years ago." Tom felt a chill run down his spine. What happens if these abilities keep growing? "That's what we're here to find out," Blue answered. "But we must work quickly. Others are watching, and not all of them share the Council's peaceful intentions. If we cannot understand and explain humanity's powers soon, there are those who will choose to eliminate what they cannot control." The 3 of them stood in silence, watching the city lights come on as evening approached. Somewhere out there, ordinary humans were unknowingly wielding powers that advanced alien civilizations couldn't comprehend. Tom wondered how much time they had left to understand these abilities before someone decided humanity was too dangerous to exist. The testing chamber hummed with alien technology as 50 human volunteers sat at strange-looking devices. Tom watched from the observation room as Blue and other council members monitored the proceedings. Today's test was designed to measure how humans solved problems compared to other species. "Begin the trial," the crystalline alien announced. The devices in front of each volunteer lit up with holographic puzzles. These weren't ordinary tests. They were problems that had stumped the finest alien minds. Some were mathematical, others were engineering challenges, and some were abstract pattern recognition tasks that even supercomputers struggled with. "Watch this," Dr. Miller whispered to Tom, pointing at one of the monitors. A young mechanic with no formal education was rapidly solving a complex engineering problem that had taken alien engineers decades to figure out. "How is he doing that?" Tom asked, leaning closer to the screen. "He says the solution just feels right," Dr. Miller replied. "Like fixing a car engine. He can sense what needs to go where." The crystalline alien's internal lights flickered rapidly. "Impossible. He has no knowledge of quantum mechanics, yet he's intuitively understanding how particles should interact." In another corner, a housewife was solving mathematical equations by drawing pictures. When asked to explain her method, she simply said the numbers looked like they wanted to be arranged this way. Her solutions were correct, though her process defied all logical explanation. "This makes no sense," one of the council members muttered. "They're not following any recognizable problem-solving pattern. It's like they're guessing." "But they're guessing correctly," Blue added, its mercury surface rippling with excitement. "Far beyond statistical probability." Tom noticed something else interesting. When two or more volunteers worked together, their success rate increased dramatically. It was as if their mysterious abilities amplified each other. Suddenly, one of the testing devices sparked and shut down. The volunteer using it, an elderly teacher, looked embarrassed. "Sorry," she said. "I was just trying to think outside the box." The aliens rushed to examine the device. "This is unprecedented," the crystalline being said. "She didn't just solve the puzzle. She found a solution we hadn't even considered possible. The device wasn't programmed to accept it." More devices began malfunctioning as humans continued finding unexpected solutions. The aliens were both thrilled and disturbed. Their carefully designed tests were being undermined by human unpredictability. "Stop the trial," the council leader ordered. "We need to assess what we've learned." As the volunteers were let out, Tom noticed the aliens huddling together, their instruments buzzing with activity. He caught fragments of their conversation. Words like dangerous and unstable mixed with revolutionary and extraordinary. Dr. Miller was reviewing the test results on her tablet. "Look at this, Tom. When we asked the volunteers to explain their solutions, none of them could. They just knew the answers. It's like they're tapping into something the aliens can't see." "It's more than that," Blue said, joining them. "Your species doesn't just find solutions. You create new possibilities. You change the parameters of reality itself. Our devices can't handle it because they're programmed to work within fixed laws of physics." "But physics can't be changed," Tom argued. "Can't it?" Blue's surface swirled thoughtfully. "We're beginning to think humans don't just observe quantum mechanics. You participate in it. You unconsciously influence probability itself." The main door slid open, and a new alien entered, one Tom hadn't seen before. Its presence made the other council members nervous. "The dominators have sent an observer," Blue whispered to Tom. "They're concerned about the test results." The new alien moved through the room, its dark armor absorbing light. It studied the malfunctioning devices and the test results with what seemed like growing alarm. "These humans," it spoke in a harsh, mechanical voice. "They are not just solving the problems. They are changing them. This ability, it could destabilize everything we know about the universe. Tom felt a chill as the Dominator turned its attention to him. In its cold, calculating gaze, he saw not scientific curiosity, but fear, and he knew, with a certainty he couldn't explain, that humanity's gift might also be the thing that made them targets. After 3 days of continuous testing, the research facility was running out of puzzles to give to human volunteers. That's when Emma walked in. The 12-year-old girl had come with her mother, who worked in the building's cafeteria. No one expected her to change everything they understood about human abilities. "I'm bored," Emma announced, wandering into the testing area while her mother prepared lunch. She walked up to what the aliens called the Impossible Cube, a device that had stumped every species in the galaxy for the past 1,000 years. The cube sat on a pedestal, its black surface covered in shifting patterns of light. Even the most advanced alien computers couldn't predict its pattern sequences. It was considered the ultimate test of intelligence, and no one had ever solved it. "Please don't touch that," Blue said, moving quickly across the room. But Emma had already picked up the cube. "It's like a music box," she said, turning it in her hands. "See, the lights are dancing to a song." Tom and Dr. Miller exchanged glances. The aliens had never described the cube as musical. In fact, it made no sound at all. "What song do you hear?" Tom asked carefully. Emma hummed a simple tune while moving her fingers across the cube's surface. To everyone's astonishment, the light patterns began shifting in rhythm with her humming. The aliens' instruments went crazy, recording unprecedented energy readings. "Impossible," the crystalline being whispered. "She's synchronizing with its quantum frequency." Emma continued playing with the cube, treating it like a toy. "If you want it to work," she said casually, "you just have to listen to what it wants to be. Like this." She made one final adjustment, and the cube's surface suddenly exploded with color. A high-pitched tone filled the room. The cube had activated, something that hadn't happened in all the centuries of its existence. The aliens rushed forward, their instruments scanning frantically. "She solved it," Blue said, its mercury surface rippling with shocked waves. "But how?" "The mathematical complexity, the quantum calculations required." "I didn't do any math," Emma shrugged. "I just helped it finish its song." The Dominator observer stepped out of the shadows where it had been watching. Its dark armor seemed to absorb the cube's colorful light. "This is unprecedented," it said. "The child's brain is performing quantum computations naturally, without training, without technology." Dr. Miller pulled up Emma's brain scans on the main screen. The patterns were unlike anything they'd seen in other volunteers. Her neural activity showed perfect synchronization with the cube's quantum frequencies. "It's not just Emma," Tom realized, looking at previous test results. "All humans can do this to some degree. We just never knew we were doing it. Emma's young mind is more open to it, less restricted by what we think is impossible." The Dominator moved closer to Emma, its sensors extending from its armor. "Your species has developed natural quantum computing abilities," it said. "Your brains don't just process information, they interact directly with quantum fields. You aren't bound by conventional physics." Emma, bored with the cube now that it was solved, set it down and walked over to another alien device. The aliens watched nervously as she examined it. "This one's sad," she said, pointing to a broken testing unit. "It's trying to think in straight lines, but thoughts aren't straight. They're all curvy and jumpy." Blue turned to Tom. "She's right. Our technology is based on linear quantum processing. But humans, your minds work in multiple quantum states simultaneously. You don't just compute possibilities, you navigate them instinctively." The Dominator's armor clicked and whirred as it processed this information. "This changes everything," it said. "If humans can naturally manipulate quantum states, if children can solve problems that have puzzled our greatest minds, then your species is more advanced than we thought, and more dangerous." Emma looked up at the Dominator, unafraid of its intimidating presence. "Why is everyone so worried?" she asked. "The universe just wants to play. That's all any of this is, a big game of possibility." Tom watched as the aliens absorbed Emma's words. In her innocent explanation, she had revealed something profound about humanity's unique relationship with reality itself. But he could also see the fear in the Dominator's rigid posture. Sometimes, the most remarkable gifts could also be seen as the greatest threats. The emergency meeting of the Stellar Council was called just hours after Emma's demonstration with the cube. Tom and Dr. Miller stood before the gathered alien representatives in the facility's main chamber, while dozens of holographic projections showed council members from across the galaxy. "The humans must be contained," the Dominator representative's voice boomed through the chamber. "Their ability to manipulate quantum reality is spreading. Our long-range scans show their power growing stronger with each generation." Blue moved forward, its mercury form reflecting the chamber's lights. "Containment is not the answer. The humans are peaceful. They don't even understand their own abilities yet. That makes them more dangerous, not less." Another Dominator projection cut in. "They achieved in days what our civilizations couldn't in millennia. The child solved the impossible cube by treating it as a toy. What will happen when they fully grasp their power?" Tom watched as the council members argued. Some supported Earth, fascinated by human potential. Others sided with the Dominators, fear evident in their reactions. The chamber filled with a cacophony of alien languages as the debate grew heated. "We have reports," the lead Dominator announced, silencing the room, "of human quantum influence extending beyond Earth. Their space probes carry this energy signature. Their radio waves are entangled with quantum patterns we can't control. They are contaminating the galaxy." Dr. Miller stepped forward. "That's ridiculous. Our technology is primitive compared to yours. We can barely reach our own moon." "Your physical technology is primitive," the Dominator agreed. "But your mental influence on reality itself is growing exponentially. Our predictive models show that within 100 years, human quantum manipulation could reshape this entire sector of space." The crystalline being's surface flickered with concern. "The models are theoretical. We cannot condemn an entire species based on predictions." "We can, and we must." The Dominator's voice grew harder. "The Dominator Empire has maintained order in this galaxy for 10,000 years by containing threats before they emerge. Our directive is clear. Earth must be quarantined completely." Or what?" Tom asked, though he already knew the answer. "Or the planet must be sterilized. For the safety of all species." The chamber erupted in chaos. Some council members disconnected their holograms in protest. Others began arguing for alternative solutions. Through it all, Tom noticed Blue and the crystalline being exchanging what seemed like meaningful glances. "You can't just destroy an entire civilization," Dr. Miller protested. "We have rights. The Council's own laws protect developing species. Laws that never accounted for a species like yours," the Dominator replied. "You humans are an anomaly. A dangerous mutation that could unravel the very fabric of space-time. We've seen your children playing with quantum forces like toys. Your adults solving impossible problems by gut feeling. Every human on Earth is a potential reality-bending entity." Blue suddenly moved to the center of the chamber. "I propose a compromise. Give us time to study and understand human abilities. If we can prove they can be safely controlled." "You have 1 Earth month," the Dominator cut in. "After that, we will take action with or without Council approval. The Empire will not risk the stability of the galaxy for one primitive species." As the holographic projections flickered out one by one, Tom felt the weight of what had just happened. In 30 days, humanity would either prove itself worthy of existence or face extinction. He looked at Dr. Miller, seeing his own worry reflected in her eyes. "What they fear most," Blue said quietly after the others had gone, "is not what humans can do now, but what you might become. They've seen how quickly you learn, how naturally you grasp concepts that took us centuries to understand. The dominators maintain their power through predictability and control. Humanity is neither predictable nor controllable. Then what can we do? Tom asked. We prove them wrong, the crystalline being chimed in. Or we prove them right in a way they never expected. After all, if humans can truly influence quantum reality itself, perhaps that power could be used to protect Earth. Tom looked out the facility's window at the city below, where millions of people went about their lives, unaware that their very existence had just been given an expiration date. Somewhere out there, children like Emma were unknowingly wielding powers that terrify the galaxy's most advanced civilization. The question was, could humanity learn to control these abilities before the dominators decided to remove them from existence? The lab was a hive of activity as Tom and Dr. Miller worked with Blue to understand human abilities. With only 23 days left before the dominators' deadline, they had turned the research facility into a round-the-clock operation. Emma had been invited back, along with other volunteers who showed strong quantum interactions. Look at this, Dr. Miller called out, pointing to her screen. When we put Emma in the same room with other children, their collective quantum field grows stronger. It's like they're amplifying each other. Tom watched through the observation window as Emma taught 5 other children how to play with various alien devices. They weren't just solving puzzles anymore. They were changing how the devices worked, finding new ways to use them that even their creators hadn't imagined. It's not just the children, Blue said, its Mercury surface rippling with excitement. Watch this recording from yesterday. The screen showed a group of adults trying to solve a complex navigation problem. When they worked alone, they struggled. But when they worked together, sharing hunches and gut feelings, they mapped quantum paths through space that should have been impossible to calculate. Humans don't just detect quantum patterns, Blue explained. You create them. Every time you say, I got lucky, or I had a feeling, you're actually manipulating probability at a quantum level. A loud crash from the testing room interrupted them. One of the children had accidentally knocked over an alien scanner, but instead of breaking, the device had somehow reconfigured itself into a more stable shape. Did you see that? Tom asked, rewinding the security footage. The device changed its form the moment before it would have broken, like reality itself shifted to prevent the accident. Dr. Miller pulled up more data on her tablet. It's happening all over. Small coincidences that aren't coincidences at all. Humans are unconsciously adjusting quantum probability to favor positive outcomes. That's why the dominators fear you, Blue said quietly. Their entire empire is built on controlling and predicting everything. But humans introduce an element of chaos they can't control. You change the rules without even trying. Tom thought about all the times in human history when people had survived against impossible odds. All the miraculous discoveries and lucky breaks that had pushed humanity forward. We're not just lucky, are we? We've been using this ability all along. The door burst open as Emma ran in, her eyes bright with excitement. We figured something out, she announced. Watch this. The adults followed her back to the testing room. The children had arranged several alien devices in a circle. As they watched, the children joined hands and closed their eyes. The devices began to glow, their quantum fields merging into a single pulsing energy. Impossible, Blue whispered. They're creating a stable quantum network. Even our most advanced scientists can't do that. We're just helping them talk to each other, Emma explained, as if it was the simplest thing in the world. Everything wants to connect. The universe is lonely when things are separate. Dr. Miller's instruments were going crazy, recording energy readings that went off the charts. The children are acting as quantum conduits, she said. They're not just sensing the quantum field, they're actively shaping it. Tom noticed something else. The closer he stood to the children's circle, the more he could feel something. Like a humming in his mind, a sense of vast possibilities just beyond normal perception. It's calling to you, Blue observed. All humans have this ability to some degree. The children are just more open to it because they haven't learned to ignore it yet. A warning light began flashing on the main console. Dominator ships detected entering the solar system, the computer announced. They're early, Dr. Miller said, fear creeping into her voice. But Tom was watching Emma and the other children. They seemed completely unconcerned by the warning, still focused on their quantum network. In fact, they were smiling. They're wrong, you know, Emma said, opening her eyes to look at Tom. The Dominators. They think we're dangerous because we change things. But that's what the universe wants. Change is how everything grows. Looking at the quantum network the children had created, Tom began to understand. Humanity's power wasn't just about solving puzzles or bending probability. It was about seeing possibilities where others saw only fixed rules. And maybe, just maybe, that was exactly what they needed to survive what was coming. The Dominator ships appeared in the sky like dark clouds, blocking out the sun over major cities worldwide. They hadn't waited the full month. Their attack came just 20 days after their ultimatum. Earth's military forces scrambled to respond, but their weapons seemed useless against the advanced alien ships. Tom watched from the research facility as chaos erupted in the streets below. We need more time, he said. We're just starting to understand our abilities. Blue's Mercury surface rippled with concern as it monitored global communications. The Dominators are positioning ships over every major population center. Their weapons can sterilize the planet's surface within hours. Suddenly, all electronic devices began broadcasting the Dominator's message. Your species has been deemed too dangerous to continue. Surrender now for a quick end. But something unexpected was happening. As panic spread through the cities, the quantum readings that Blue had been monitoring started to spike. Humans worldwide were unconsciously responding to the threat, their latent abilities activating under stress. Look at these readings, Dr. Miller called out, pointing to her screen. The quantum field disturbances are off the charts. It's like the whole human race is connecting to some kind of shared network. In the testing room, Emma and the other children had formed their circle again, but this time it was different. Their quantum network was growing, reaching out to touch minds across the city, then beyond. The grown-ups are scared, Emma said, her eyes closed in concentration. But they're starting to feel it too. The connection. Reports started coming in from around the world. The Dominators' weapons were malfunctioning. Their ship's systems were showing impossible errors. Reality itself seemed to be shifting around them. Their technology depends on predictable quantum states, Blue explained, watching the chaos unfold. But humans in danger are generating quantum fluctuations on a massive scale. You're disrupting their ability to maintain stable energy fields. A Dominator ship over the city tried to fire its main weapon. Instead, the energy pulse curved away harmlessly into space, as if deflected by an invisible shield. More reports flooded in. The same thing was happening everywhere. It's not just random chance, Tom realized, watching the patterns in the data. Under threat, humans are unconsciously working together, manipulating probability on a global scale. We're making the impossible possible. The children's quantum network had grown to encompass the entire facility. Adults who came near them started feeling the connection too, their own latent abilities awakening. The effect was spreading like a wave across the planet. Their ships are failing, Dr. Miller announced, reading the incoming reports. Every system that comes in contact with human population centers is breaking down. It's like reality itself is rejecting their presence. The Dominator ships began retreating to higher orbits, their perfect formation breaking apart as their systems failed. But humans weren't just defending. They were evolving. People everywhere reported strange experiences, moments of perfect clarity, connections with others' thoughts, ability to sense coming dangers before they happened. The attack was a catalyst, Blue said, its surface shimmering with excitement. Under extreme stress, your species' dormant abilities are fully activating. What took us thousands of years of technological development, you're achieving naturally. Emma opened her eyes, smiling. We did it the way we always do things, she said, We didn't think about whether it was possible. We just knew it had to work, so we made it work. The main screen showed Dominator ships retreating from Earth's orbit, their once mighty fleet in disarray. Their perfectly planned attack had been undone not by advanced technology or powerful weapons, but by the collective will of the species they had underestimated. They thought they could predict and control everything, Tom said, watching the ships flee. But that's not how the universe really works. Change and chaos and possibility. That's what humanity brings to the galaxy, and maybe that's exactly what it needs. Dr. Miller's instruments were still recording unprecedented levels of quantum activity around the globe. The question is, she said quietly, now that humanity has awakened to its true potential, what do we do next? Looking at the children still maintaining their quantum network, at the streams of data showing human consciousness evolving in real time, Tom knew this was just the beginning. The Dominators had tried to end humanity's story, but instead, they had helped write its next chapter. 3 days after the failed Dominator attack, the research facility had become the center of a new understanding of human potential. Tom sat with Blue and Dr. Miller, reviewing data from around the world. The quantum connections that had emerged during the crisis hadn't faded. They were growing stronger. I think I'd finally understand what we really are, Tom said, looking at the complex web of quantum interactions displayed on the main screen. We're not just detecting or manipulating quantum states. We're part of them. Blue's mercury surface rippled with interest. Explain. Look at these patterns, Tom pointed to the display. Every human thought, every intention, every moment of creativity. They're all quantum entanglement events. We're not separate from the quantum field. We're expressions of it. Dr. Miller pulled up Emma's latest test results. The young girl had been helping more people connect to their abilities, and the data was revolutionary. He's right. Human consciousness doesn't just observe quantum reality. It's an active part of it. Outside the facility, people around the world were discovering abilities they never knew they had. Some could sense incoming danger. Others found they could influence probability in small but significant ways. Children especially were showing remarkable talents for understanding and manipulating quantum fields. Your video games, Blue said suddenly. Your stories about magic and supernatural powers. Your constant dreams of doing the impossible. They weren't just imagination. They were your species unconsciously remembering what you really are. Emma walked into the room, followed by a group of both children and adults who had been working with her. We're like the universe's hands, she said, overhearing their conversation. When we want to change something, the universe helps us change it. Tom watched as she demonstrated, gathering quantum energy around a broken device. The pieces didn't just reconnect, they rearranged themselves into a better configuration. We're not breaking the laws of physics, he realized. We're working with them on their most fundamental level. That's why the Dominator's weapons failed, Dr. Miller added. Their technology tries to control and restrict quantum possibilities, but humans naturally expand them. We don't just see what is, we see what could be, and somehow we make it happen. Blue moved to the center of the room, its form shifting with excitement. This explains so much about your species, your rapid evolution, your ability to adapt to any environment, your constant drive to explore and change and grow, your quantum beings in biological form. The main screen switched to a global view, showing the web of human quantum connections fanning the planet. It was beautiful. A living network of consciousness and possibility that grew stronger every hour. The Stellar Council is in chaos, Blue reported. Some members want to declare Earth a protected realm. Others want to study and learn from humans, the Dominators. It paused. They've retreated to their empire's borders. Their defeat here has shaken their power throughout the galaxy. Tom thought about what this meant for humanity's future. We're not ready for this, he said. We've barely begun to understand our own abilities. Maybe that's the point, Emma said, surprising everyone with her insight. If we thought too much about how it works, we might convince ourselves it's impossible. Sometimes you have to just believe and let the universe help. Dr. Miller was studying new data from across the globe. She's right. The people showing the strongest quantum abilities are those who don't question it. They just accept and explore, like children at play. Your species has a choice to make, Blue said solemnly. Now that you know what you are, what will you become? Your power could reshape reality itself. Or we could reshape ourselves. Tom finished the thought. Evolution didn't stop with our physical form. This is the next step. Understanding what we really are and learning to use it wisely. Looking at the quantum web spanning the globe, at the endless possibilities it represented, Tom understood why the dominators had been so afraid. Humanity wasn't just another species discovering its potential. They were something the galaxy had never seen before. Conscious quantum beings who could influence reality itself through pure intention. The question was, were they ready for such power? 1 month after the Dominator attack, Earth had changed in ways no one could have predicted. The Stellar Council had called an emergency session, and for the first time in galactic history, humans were invited to attend not as subjects, but as equals. Tom stood before the assembled alien representatives, with Dr. Miller and Emma beside him, Blue and the Crystalline being flanked them supportively. The chamber was filled with both physical attendees and holographic projections from across the galaxy. We've made our decision, Tom announced to the council. Humanity accepts our place in the galactic community, but on our own terms. We won't be controlled, studied, or restricted. We are what we are. The chamber erupted in a mix of reactions. Some council members celebrated, while others showed clear concern. The Dominator representatives were notably absent from the session. How can we trust your species with such power? One alien asked. Your abilities grow stronger each day. You could reshape reality itself. Emma stepped forward, surprising everyone. That's what everyone keeps getting wrong, she said, her voice clear and confident. We're not reshaping reality. We're helping it become what it wants to be. The universe isn't meant to be controlled. It's meant to grow and change. As if to demonstrate, she reached out with her quantum sense, touching the consciousness of every being in the chamber. For a brief moment, they all felt what humans felt, the endless dance of possibility, the joy of creation, the wonder of existence itself. Remarkable, the Crystalline being chimed. They don't just use quantum energy. They're a bridge between consciousness and quantum reality. Through them, the universe can know itself. Blue moved forward, its Mercury surface forming patterns never seen before. We propose that Earth be designated as a new type of world, not just protected, but recognized as essential to the galaxy's evolution. The humans' abilities could help solve problems we've struggled with for millennia. Tom watched as the council members discussed among themselves. He could feel the quantum web of human consciousness spanning Earth, growing stronger and more refined each day. People were learning to use their abilities not just for defense or practical purposes, but for creation and understanding. We accept humans as equals, the council leader finally announced, with one condition. You must share your understanding with other species, not your power. We know that's unique to your kind, but your perspective. Your way of seeing possibility where we see only rules. Dr. Miller smiled. We're already doing that. The children are showing us the way. They don't see barriers between species or civilizations. To them, everything is connected. Everything is possible. As if in response, the quantum field in the chamber shifted. The alien devices, designed for pure logic and control, began working in new ways, adapting to possibility rather than fighting it. The aliens watched in wonder as their technology evolved simply by being in proximity to human consciousness. This is just the beginning, Tom said. Humanity is still growing, still learning. We don't know what we'll become, but we promise to use our abilities to help life flourish, not to control or dominate. Emma touched his hand, and through their quantum connection, he saw what she saw. A future where humanity helped the galaxy evolve beyond its fears and limitations, where the impossible became possible not through force or technology, but through understanding and acceptance. The hidden power humans have, Emma said to the council, isn't just about changing things. It's about seeing the joy in change. The universe isn't a machine to be controlled. It's a dance, and we're all part of it. The council session ended with a historic decision. Earth was declared not just a protected world, but a central point for a new age of galactic evolution. The Dominators' empire began to crumble as species throughout the galaxy learned from humanity that control and predictability weren't the highest goals of existence. As Tom looked out at the assembled representatives of 1,000 worlds, he felt humanity's quantum web pulsing with potential. They had found their place in the universe not by conquering or controlling, but by being exactly what they were, dreamers who could make dreams real, beings who could help the universe imagine new ways to be. The power that aliens couldn't understand wasn't just about quantum manipulation or probability control. It was the power to believe in possibility itself, and in doing so, to help make it real.